from anybody?
All right, it looks like it's 6 o'clock. So I'd like to call this order of the Bethel Select Board to order on Monday, June 1st, 2020. First on our agenda is the Citizens Forum. If anyone has anything that they'd like to discuss that's not on the regular agenda, now would be the time.
I actually don't know if I should discuss this now or if I should discuss it during the selectmen comments. I got in touch with DOT today about the Sunday River Bridge construction.
Either one, Lori.
Well, I can do it now.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So I got in touch with a guy named Josh. No, I'm sorry. Jason Stetson. He's the project manager for this. They're doing 3 bridges next year, and they're going to start putting it out to bid in December. But this is the bridge that's right near the pull-out picnic area, right on Route 2, just past the brew pub. And they have found that they were going to do a decking only, but now they've done core samples and the chloride level is a little too high. So they're going to have to do some corrosion fixing as well. So they just wanted to bring us up to date on this and to keep us in the loop of what's going on, because they are not going to have any, it says here, they're not going to have any public meetings about it.
Yeah, I think I got a letter. I think we all got a letter about that this week.
Well, they started sending them to me, so I figured I'd just give them a call and see what was going on. And but they're saying that it's going to definitely need another deck replacement within the next 10 years.
Yeah.
The whole deck is going to have to be replaced. They found quite a bit of corrosion, so.
No surprise.
Yeah.
Anything else for the Citizens Forum? We do have to, we do have to, an item to add to the agenda, if I'm not mistaken, and we need
Correct.
a motion to add that.
I think the item was update to response to COVID-19.
Yeah, the parks.
And I'll move that.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor of adding this to the agenda? All right, good, thanks. All right, next is approval of minutes.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Hi, Lloyd.
Any further discussion?
Yes, I actually have two pieces. One is on the first page, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraph down. The board discussed Victualers license renewal for Lemieux Eats. And then there's the sentence that the code enforcement officer, Walker, informed the board that he will investigate the business and so forth. I'd like to amend the minutes that the code enforcement officer, Walker, stated that it needed to go before site plan review.
Is that what he actually said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I don't believe that was what he said.
There was some commotion as he was starting to come on, and then when he came on, he said that, yeah, he had believed that he thought it needed to go before the site plan review.
Does anyone else recall?
No.
You're not.
Hi, I'm Sav from Lemieux Eats. I've spoken with Toby for the past week or so, like maybe 4 or 5 times. And the last time I spoke with him, he told me that we wouldn't need to go through the site plan review yet because there was no ordinance in place and that we were going to wait for ordinances to be passed.
Okay, thank you. So is there a second for Michelle's first amendment? All right, hearing none, we'll leave the minutes as that item on the minutes as is. What else did you have, Michelle?
The second item is on page 3. And it's the first paragraph. The board reviewed the current town financials to see where the town stands so close to the end of the fiscal year. I'd like to amend it to the board asked to review the current town financials to see where the town stood so close to the end of the year. And then I'm not sure how the wordsmith goes for the second sentence, but it wasn't a blurring of the review of the FY 2020 with the budget committee. That was like a standalone item.
So you want to separate out where we are now with the budget and the meeting with the budget committee, which is next week?
Yep. Well, that's what the minutes were. That's what was the minutes at that time. Yeah.
Okay, does anyone want to second that amendment?
I don't know what she's talking about, actually. I'm looking at it, but I don't understand what she's meaning.
You just want to split a paragraph, right?
Yeah, we had the request to have the financials of where we're going to stand at the end of this current year, 2020. And then with that, we could use it to view the coming budget again, 2021. That was an action for the selectmen, not just selectmen and budget committee.
Current town financials, see where the town stands.
I'll second that.
All right, Lloyd will second that. Any further discussion on that amendment to the minutes? All those in favor? I can't see Lloyd's hand or Michelle's. All right, so we've passed the amendment, and now we need to go on back to the minutes, to approval of the minutes. Any further discussion on the minutes?
Only if Retta can send me the recording sometime of the last meeting's minutes.
You can't send the recording, the file is too big.
Yeah, you would have to go listen to it on tape, I believe.
Yeah, or
Okay.
bring a thumb drive in and we can copy it onto that.
Okay, great, thanks.
All right, so all those in favor of the minutes as amended? Michelle, is that a positive for you? You're
Opposed.
opposed? Okay, fair enough. All right, and one opposed. So 3 in favor, 1 opposed. So there are no public hearings this time. Next on our agenda is to open bids for the coal block entrance. Any luck on that, Loretta?
We had one bid brought in today. And it was from Tyler Concrete and Foundations and Excavation for a project cost of $76,856.
Just for the steps in the entrance out front?
Yes. He did them pretty close to what Mainland had said, but not 100% what their design was. It's the front steps and the ramp at the front of the town hall. To remove the bricks presently placed at the entrance of the building. To demolish, break up, or jackhammer the existing step structural. To remove all the debris from the site. To place a foundation 6 by 50 foot for frost protection to place ramp and steps on. To construct a ramp to raise 14 inches in the 15-foot, 6-foot in width. To construct entrance 6 foot by 23 foot. To construct 2 steps 11 foot in width, raising onto a 6 by 11 foot slab, and then 1 step rising to the deck at the main entrance. This provides the rails, which we have to pick out. It's also radiant heat by Community Energy. And he did say the demolition was going to be kind of difficult because of the wires above out front. That's the only bid we have.
All right, do we have
A
a,
little less than Mainland's, but theirs was 93, almost 94,000.
right, do we have a motion to approve that bid?
That was the only one that's come in beside Mainland?
Yeah, Mainland was, well, they didn't really bid on it. That was last year when we asked them about doing the
That was- yeah,
design.
that wasn't an estimate. That was an estimate, not a bid,
Right.
Oh, okay.
an engineering estimate.
It just seems like we should have more bids that,
We can't make people bid.
I
It's been in
know.
the paper for 3 weeks this time, and it was in 3 weeks last fall,
Hmm.
twice last year.
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept the bid as presented.
Do we have a second?
I have a couple of questions.
Can we get a second to get it on
So
the table?
I
please?
I will second it to get on the floor.
Thank you.
How much money do we have now appropriated for the steps?
We have 66,000 in the coal block, or 60,000, just a minute. We have 60,616 in the coal block CIP. That's without the, if we ever get to have town meeting, that's without the 40,000 that we have in our budget for 2021.
So, say that, that 40K doesn't happen or happens much later, how would we propose to build the 77 bid with 60,000? Would we break it up? Would we phase it?
We have, in our budget now, we have another, I want to say, a little over 6,000 in coal block maintenance in our budget as we speak. So that would get us a
Bringing
little
it closer.
66, so I guess you did 66,000.
I thought we split the, in the new budget, we split the coal block money.
No. That was last year,
Oh, it was last year. Okay,
I believe so, yeah.
guess I'm gonna have to pull my budget out and.
Any further questions on this bid for the stairs?
I'm not sure we're ready to be able to vote. I mean, if we don't have the money now, what's the plan to, I mean, are we gonna get $66,000 worth and not have the top step done? I mean, it's a ridiculous kind of statement, but,
Well, I think we're in the situation now where we've run it, we've looked for bids for 2 years. If we don't accept a bid soon, we're going to be out another year. I'm not sure how long the temporary stairs will last. I mean, that's sort of the problem we run into, is that if we have a contractor who's willing to do the work, and they're a local contractor, they have a reputation for, I mean, I don't know what exactly their reputation on stairs is. So that's maybe something we could, if we wanted to put it out further, we could do that, but we don't want to put it out too much further because then it's not going to get done before it freezes.
Earl did the key bank steps and the ramp down there when they had it done. And Earl also did Community Energies. The entrance at Community Energy, Brooks Brothers.
I mean, I agree it needs to be done, but we're voting to spend money for a total bid that we don't have right now. So what's the plan? Can we put in some of it? Can he do some of it and stop until we get more money?
My opinion is I can't imagine it's going to get voted down at town meeting when that's all people have done is complain about us not having front steps. That's my opinion.
So right now, what we have is the bid and we only have 66,000 through it. 66,000 for it. But this is, the only reason we're voting right now is for this to go before the town meeting, for them to approve it, correct?
No.
No,
The
no,
town,
no.
the town wouldn't need to approve this at this point. They would need, the town, we would have enough money to do the project if the town voted at town meeting to approve the $40,000 that we've proposed in
understand.
next year's budget. Then we would have the money to do it.
Okay,
So perhaps we should accept the bid with the stipulation that we can't begin work until after it's been approved, until after money's been approved at town meeting. That may solve all the problems.
Or can we go back to the bidder and say, this is the amount of money that we have right now. You know, we hope to get more money. How would you do the project so we didn't have a step missing or a ramp missing? Or again, it's ridiculous, but
I mean, we can certainly do that, but I would say that we, you know, either we can, yeah, we could, I guess we could stipulate that way that, you know, if we can go back and get it done for 66, then we'll approve it, then it's approved to go. And if we can't, then we will have to wait until town meeting to approve the funding.
I mean, can he show that he can substantially complete it with the 66?
I'm not sure we want to go with any kind of incompletion at this point. Again, it's concrete. You can't. I'm not sure that that's how he's planned to do it. We can ask him. I mean, we can also ask him to do it for less, or we could ask him to put us on his schedule for after the time when the town can do it.
I think we should ask them to with a stipulation for after the town meeting to make sure we have all the funds.
That's fine. Do you want to make that motion?
I'll
Or you
make
want-
that motion,
I don't
yeah.
even know, is that,
Amend the motion,
yeah, that would be amendment, I suppose.
okay?
I mean, then why wouldn't we just wait until after we had the town meeting then?
It would be nice to communicate with the bidder so that he gets us on his schedule so that it gets done. I mean, in my opinion, again, there's other concrete projects out there.
No, I mean, it's a dilemma. It's just that we don't have the money for what he bid. And I mean, history has shown we haven't had a problem in the past, but you, me, Lori, and Lloyd are on the hook for the difference money if the town doesn't vote the money through.
Well, we could always take it out of sidewalk money. We could rob Peter to pay Paul if push came to shove. We've got sidewalk maintenance, $5,000.
It's getting closer. But I don't, yeah, I mean, I think it's fine to have that conversation with the contractor and say, we have to wait until after town meeting, but we'd like you to do it once town meeting's over, or not. And I think we can say that, just so that they're in the loop, as opposed to
Oh,
just
yeah.
knowing what happened to their bid.
We can say that, and then we have the chance of A, him not being able to do it, and B, the price go up. But we can ask anything.
So what's the plan?
We need a second on Lori's amendment.
Thank you. Would anyone like to second Lori's amendment to approve the bid, but stipulate that we can't start construction until after it's been, money's been voted at town meeting?
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any further discussion? All right, so we'd be voting on the amendment at this point. So all those in favor of an amendment to approve, but wait until funding has been approved by the town. Yes, all those in favor of the amendment. All right, we have 3 in favor of the amendment. That brings us back to the original motion to approve the bid from Tyler's Concrete as amended. Any further discussion on the proposal? All those in favor? All right, so that's 3 to 1. Yeah, thank you, Laura, Michelle. Okay, great. Next bids for the Bethel pathway extension.
We have 2 bids. I'm trying to open it. Not working. This is from Joe Aloisio. It's quite lengthy. His bill is on a per hour at a rate of $125 an hour for all services, not to exceed $5,500, which includes $1,500 for inspections during construction. Even though it didn't say inspections per se in the RFP, I don't believe. The fee includes most auxiliary costs, postage, mileage, print material. He has a base plan, a stormwater plan, a review site plan, final site plan, bid assistance, and an inspection. So, dear Ms. Powers, attached, please find a proposal outlining the work that is planned for the Bethel Pathway extension. Jaja Inc. is a small firm with only one primary employee, but we have a number of contractors who we can and will assist on projects. For this work, we will utilize himself, Peter Roberts, to complete all phases of the project. Peter has worked a Sunday River resort for the past 6 years in the engineering department and is now the chief engineer. His work will be familiar to the town as a design engineer for the proposal to the ball fields on Vernon Street. Joe has worked at Sunday River for over 30 years until his retirement. In the past, he has completed projects for the town at a maintenance garage and other various subdivision road construction projects. He also is design engineer for Mahoosic Land Trust on the Gateway section of the Bethel Pathway in 2010. As a local engineer, he is familiar with the path this section of the pathway will take, and he's even walked it already. As the proposal outlines, we will develop a set of plans, utilize some of the detail that are employed on the Gateway section. Topography for the road will be developed either through a GPS field survey or the use of area Linder maps or both. We will provide a good set of plans from which the contractor can build. We anticipate a 2-week time frame to develop the plans necessary to present to the planning board. Once this is received, we anticipate an additional week to complete the plans and have them available to contractors. As a retired engineer, I can devote as much time as is needed to meet the schedule, and Peter has committed to devote time to the project as well. Weather will be the only prohibitive factor and that we need dry days to survey. References can be obtained from the town managers from Town and Nuri and Mahoosic Land Trust. And it talks about how payment anticipated 30 days, 1% interest will be charged to invoices greater than 60 days old unless prior arrangements are made. And his base plan, by utilizing existing maps and survey information, develop a project plan with available features and topography. This plan will act as the basis of additional plan that will be needed for the permit applications. Stormwater plan as required by the Bethel Planning Board. A stormwater drainage design and plan will be prepared. This will primarily describe the current drainage pattern and show how the proposed trail will not disrupt the pattern. Review site plan. Develop a review site plan showing proposed trail route and cross-section for presentation to the planning board along with the appropriate application. This will include erosion, sedimentation, control information. The final site plan. Develop a final site plan shows proposed trail route, cross-sections, details, and notes for distribution to contractors. Plan will contain information necessary to bid the project. Assist the town in distribution of plans to contractors. When bids are received, discuss the merits of each bid with the board and assist in making decisions. And inspect project during construction. Inspection will occur 3 times a week during major project effort and twice weekly when the project is starting and during completion. Weekly reports will be provided to the town to assist in determining the status of the project.
Sorry, Loretta, I missed. Who was that bidder? Or who
Joe
was that?
Aloisio.
No, oh, we're still on Joe Aloisio.
That's all Joe Aloisio.
Okay. And what's the other,
The other one is D.A. Wilson.
What was the bid from DA Wilson?
I'm trying to open it.
Sorry.
I left them sealed like I was supposed to. D.A. Wilson and Company is familiar with the project. Let's see, has reviewed it. Well, it has, $17 per running foot. Estimated in place cost per running foot, $17. Total estimated project cost based on 3,900 linear feet, 66,300.
And what
So
was
these
Joe's?
these are not apple and orange bids.
Not even close.
Aloisio is an engineering bid.
Yep,
Wilson is a construction bid.
right.
I believe we put out the construction bids.
I thought that's what I had in the paper.
So I'm a little confused why we got an engineering bid. I thought the project was relatively well defined.
Me too.
Huh. That's very confusing. Jesse, is Gabe around?
I'm in my office, so
Not around.
first time in a while, so he's not here.
Oh, well. That's confusing.
It is. When Joe told me he was going to bid, I just thought he was bidding on the job. I didn't ask him any questions.
Yeah, so do you have I don't have it in front of me. Do you have the text of the
RFP.
bid request?
Not in front of me. It's in my office.
Because if I am not mistaken, it was for what Wilson bid on,
Yes.
not what
Joe bid on.
Aloisio bid on. So
I'm pretty sure it said that it was a construction bid, not engineering.
yeah. Okay, just checking. I was just making sure that I was starting to listen to the bid and I was like, wait, this is an engineering bid, not a construction bid. So that's a little confusing. In that case, it sounds like we only have one construction bid, which is what we put out for. And I'd like to see if someone would make a motion to accept the construction bid from Wilson.
I'll make that motion. I'll make a motion that we accept the construction bid for the pathway extension from DA Wilson.
I'll second.
Good. Any further discussion?
Yes, what was our budget again?
It's, I want to say it was more than that, but I would be lying. Or I Don't have
I'm
it.
not sure. I'd have to go get my folder, which I can do.
Yeah, we should check that. Thank you.
I said I was gonna sing.
It's too quiet. You guys got to sing or something.
I know I was going to have someone start telling jokes, but that would make for some really weird minutes.
Yeah, it says request for proposal design consulting services. That's from Dave. My goodness. Bethel Pathway Extension Project application has been awarded 43,614 by the Maine Trails Advisory.
Now, there were three different, there's an
Town-
RCP grant, there's a Rotary grant, and
Yep.
there's the town of Bethel.
Right, the town is the 10,000 that we gave, which we took out some legal fees.
And then there was also the Rotary, which was,
I don't know as I have that. Rotary,
thought it was,
30,000 from the Rotary, maybe?
what I was thinking was
I believe so.
30,000. So what was the grant?
43,614.
So 73, 83 minus whatever we paid for already out of the Rotary grant. So that is the Wilson bid is less than our
Expenditures.
budget.
But didn't you just say the RFQ was for design?
Yeah, can you go back to that, Loretta?
It says Town of Bethel, request for proposal, design consulting services. The Town of Bethel seeking bid proposals for construction for the Bethel Pathway Extension Project. Sealed cost proposals may be clearly marked Bethel Pathway Extension Project. Then it goes on to talk about the general conditions of it, the project background.
But does it say whether we're looking for someone to actually build the thing or whether we're looking for someone to engineer it?
It says both, whether what you just
Yeah.
read.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
That's what we got, two different bids.
Right.
So what did Aloysio's bid add up to?
Not to exceed 5,500, which
So I'm
includes,
guessing that the two bids together are what we're looking for and still brings us in under budget. Does that make sense? Does it make
Wait a
sense to
minute.
anyone but me?
I thought Aloysio's was a lot higher than that.
no,
So
No.
he was bidding on the engineering at $5,000
Oh,
and Wilson was bidding on construction at $66,000, which brings us to $71,000, which is a couple $1,000 below what we have available for the project. A bit below.
so I could make an amendment to my motion to include Aloysio's bid for the engineering part of it.
Yeah, that sounds like what we want to do.
Okay, then that's what I'll do. I will amend my motion to include the Aloysio bid for the engineering part of the construction, as well as DA Wilson's bid for the construction itself.
That sounds good.
That sound
Now,
right?
we probably, you're just, so you were the original person who proposed that. You were the original proposer, right?
Yes.
So we just need a second. I don't think we need to vote on an amendment because Lori changed her own motion.
Okay,
So do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
DA Wilson doesn't have anything for engineering in there? Sure.
Not that I saw. Scope of work to include area from the end of the current pathway located behind the former Big Adventure, crossing the North Road, running parallel to the North Road to Valentine Trail System of Mahoosic Land Trust. Excavation, removal from site existing topsoil, vegetation, installation, grading, compaction of approximately 12-inch base gravel for surface and area approximately 6 feet wide, installation and spreading of approximately 3-inch crusher dust service.
All right, yeah, no, they don't have the engineering in there. So it sounds like we need, but if we come back around and realize that the engineering isn't required, then we don't have to go ahead with that piece. But I'm guessing we need both pieces through that area. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? All right, thank you. All right, next, we move on to victualers licenses.
Can I just make one comment in regards to the bids? I finally read my Citizen this weekend and I saw the 2 ads. Maybe next time we can get a little more consistent. One has bids going to the selectmen, one has bids going to the town manager. One bid has Bethel as an equal opportunity employer, one doesn't. Maybe just up our game a little bit for consistency.
All right, so there were 2 bids, 2 requests.
No, one was for the front steps and one was for the pathway.
One was the front steps to have the bids delivered by 5 p.m. today. And the other was for the Bethel Pathway Extension Project for proposals to be delivered as of last Friday, May 29th.
All right,
And they all came in on schedule.
good.
so just making sure that the text for our bid requests in the paper are consistent.
Thank you.
Okay, next, I'd like to move on to victualers licenses.
I make oops, I'm sorry, Peter.
Go ahead.
Make a motion that we approve the particular licenses for the Brian's, Lemieux Eats, and Circle K.
Do we have a second? All right,
Second.
we have a second. Any further discussion?
I'd like to make an amendment that we take these up individually.
Do we have a second? Hearing no second, the amendment fails. And we can go on to further discussion about these 3 victualers licenses. Any further discussion?
Well, I think there was to be an update from the code enforcement officer, according to the minutes that got passed. in regards to Lemieux's standing as a commercial structure?
Is Toby out there?
Yes, he is.
As Michelle requested, I went and visited the site the other day. I took some pictures of the trailer, the wheels, the plug-in where they're hooked up, things of that nature. Yeah, they actually sent me a copy of their state food license too. They are actually licensed as a mobile food unit through the state of Maine, excuse me. And just to clarify my situation, at this time, I have been thinking that perhaps site plan review may be pertinent to the situation where they have not moved or acted like a mobile food unit. And I can go either way when I think about it in my own mind. So I had developed a plan potentially to following the code and whatnot. Probably to start off with asking the planning board, the authority having jurisdiction and applicability of site plan review to this situation, is how I would proceed. I chose not to proceed in a hurried fashion just because of the circumstances that we're under with the COVID-19 thing. Everybody's got so much stress on their plate. I wasn't too worried about it. Stav and Elise seem like very good people. They have done everything I've asked in the past, and they seem willing to comply with anything that is necessary for them to comply to. So I'm willing to work with them, and that's my goal, is to work with people and try to have them come into compliance beforehand. If anybody's got any further questions, I'd try to answer them.
So there is a compliance issue then?
I'm not stating exactly that there's a compliance issue. That the only compliance issue that's in question right now that we've been having conversations on is a legal means of disposal. Me and Rick have been working together on that, trying to come up with an answer, and we've not had a meeting with Sav and Elise personally or otherwise to inform them exactly what's going on with that at this time, but we are working on it.
Any further discussion?
Yes, I'm a little disappointed to hear all of that. I mean, us officials have taken an oath to uphold the ordinances. And if anybody needs any clarity on the situation, I mean, it has nothing to do with the owners or the food choice. I mean, from everything that I hear, it complements our food options very well. They've been contributing to the community. But what's there now is a commercial structure. And everybody else in the community in Bethel have gone before the site plan as, you know, for a commercial structure. It may have started out as a food truck, may have had all the licenses, you know, something that may have started out for 2 months. It's now going on 2 years. There's been warning signs throughout at least the past year. I mean, heck, the planning board and the planning office came to the selectmen in October wanting a food truck ordinance in part to regulate this situation. But as you can see, I mean, you got to really kind of look yourself in the mirror and say, you know, is this truly a food truck? And for clarity, wouldn't even have this conversation if it truly was a food truck, because the nature of a food truck is mobile, is self-contained, and right now they can go anywhere in Bethel and sell the food. And the fact that they can't or won't, or the facilities that they have created, really clarifying that this is a commercial structure. And the code enforcement officer has the authority to do determination of applicability, and the selectmen have the authority to do determination of applicability. I mean, it's not a business license issue. It's a land use issue. I mean, municipalities don't really have much to do with business regulations, but they have everything to do with land use regulations.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have some further discussion. I guess my misunderstanding about the situation is I'm not sure why there's an argument that we're not a mobile food structure when we are literally on a trailer with wheels.
We rent a space.
We rent a space, we rent the land from the person that owns the land. And I really am just trying to figure out why we're in the situation where our victualers permit got tabled instead of just having a discussion about going through a site plan review. Like, why would it need to be tabled to be able to even go through that process and then have our victualers permit be expired and potentially not be able to do business after this meeting?
Especially when we're open and willing. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I know you can't see me on screen. Lee's Sav's wife. Especially when we're open to having discussions and going through a site plan review. We've never not been open to that, but the way that it came up was withholding our license to do business, therefore halting our means of providing for ourselves and our 4 full-time employees, to then say, well, we want you guys to go through this process instead of having a discussion with us prior to it expiring.
Yeah, because I think we've been open to going through a process. We've been open to following any kind of ordinances that are out there for us. The issue is that there are no ordinances right now for food trucks. We've been willing to be a part of that process. We've contacted the Bethel town
Over
office
a year ago.
to be able to be a part of that process. We've offered for people to come look at the space, look at the food trailer, so that they could get more of an understanding about what it is. And we haven't been contacted to be a part of it, except for we've been contacted that the process is going to be started. We're going through the process up until now, where our permit was tabled and waiting for approval.
I mean, I can't respond as to why there have not been conversations with you, prior to this. I mean, again, they've been warned. I've been on the board since last July. I've seen some warning signs, like I said before, that is indicated that you have a commercial structure. Heck, you even have a rental, you have a lease too, you say. And it all can be solved and moot if you have a mobile unit that goes around to out the other business. The reason why it came up to this point is actually put the selectmen in a pretty bad position. But like I said, the municipal government doesn't have a lot to do with business regulations. It has everything to do with land use regulations. So when a permit comes up, like your Victualers license, again, it's our responsibility not to further a non-compliant situation. And that's why it was brought up at that point, because by approving a license and there's, in my opinion, there's a violation, it just worsens the non-compliance. And that's not what we're here to do. And also the questions, the conversations were a bit of doing, ex parte, communication with the planning board, because the planning board shouldn't have, influences on their decision. So the whole thing is really kind of placed the selectmen in a bad position too.
Well, I
Right,
guess my issue is that I hear what you're saying, and I hear that you're saying it's in your opinion there's a violation, but if there's no legitimate violation, I honestly don't understand why we're in this situation.
Yeah, because it's not really up for an opinion about whether we are on wheels. Our license through the state of Maine says that we are a mobile food unit.
Right.
Like I don't understand how that's up for debate. I don't understand how somebody's opinion that we're like, where do we find that? Do you have something to cite for us that shows that we're out of compliance with being mobile?
Yeah, actually, if you open up our code book and you have the site plan review application, it says that commercial, retail, industrial, institutional, and recreational buildings, structures and uses, and accessory structures and their uses. That's the applicability for the site plan review.
But they're mobile.
Right.
Are they?
Yes,
Are they?
we are.
You can, a food truck in the town of Bethel can go around anywhere they want and sell their food. That's a mobile unit. You have been, in one location for close to 2 years. And little
But
by
we've
little,
chosen to stay in one location. Not that we have to stay in one location. We've chosen because we created a relationship with the brewery where they would like us to stay in their parking lot and we would like to be in their parking lot. We spoke to the owner of the land and they said that they were okay with us being in that parking lot. We can move if we would like to, but we've chosen not to because it's done well for our business.
I mean, that in itself, and then the structure itself, I don't even know if the trailer's registered, if you could pull out in a moment's notice if you needed to. Little by little, there seems to be, it's becoming more of like maybe, like what you see with a lobster shack. Excuse me. And also, it's also jeopardizing the brewery's license as well, because there's a common owner there, and with food service and with the brewery, that can almost be construed a restaurant.
We're two separate registered businesses.
Yeah, it couldn't be construed as a
We don't
restaurant.
cook in
You have a common owner. I'm just really sad that the planning office just hasn't looked and applied the ordinances the same way someone like myself has. It's the whole thing could be cleared up. If it's a food truck, you can go anywhere. You can go in front of Gould, you can go in front of my house, you can go on Main Street, you can go anywhere in Bethel and sell. But you've chosen and have created a permanent relationship, and that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. But
It seems like it's a bad thing right now. Like coming from you, it seems like it's a bad thing.
Let's apply the ordinances how we had to apply it. And someone in one position who may have a state license from the state of Maine, but is choosing not to operate that way is a commercial structure to me. I mean, we have everything in the town of Bethel that has gone if it's commercial structure.
I guess it being a commercial structure to you actually doesn't really legally say anything because it's a mobile structure in reality and to the state of Maine. And honestly, like, I'm all for having ordinances passed for food trucks in Bethel. It would be great to have a set of rules that we could follow instead of having people just come up to us and make kind of requests that we don't really know where they're coming from. We don't have a problem with ordinances, but what we do have a problem with is being penalized for something that we actually don't know what we're doing wrong.
I know, and that's where I am embarrassed. As a municipal officer, I am embarrassed because there has been in July 2019, there had been conversations about your business when the steam mill brewery was coming before the planning board. You have obviously been conversations with the planning board and the planning office, because they asked us, because for some reason, someone or some people weren't able to tell you, look, you really got a structure here, commercial structure. We already have an ordinance in place, and that's what the code is. But for some reason, they wanted a food truck to be able, in part, to regulate you. So that just makes me sad. It just makes me sad. And I'm not coming out from left field. I'm coming out from the codes that we are supposed to be
for a structure, not for a food truck.
Right.
All right.
Right.
I feel like we've moved this around. If there's nothing new to go with, I'd love to move this to a vote of the select board. So unless there's anything completely new or different that we really need to consider, it's time to move on. So we're talking about victualers licenses for Brian's, Lemieux Eats, and Circle K. All those in favor of approving the victualers licenses? Opposed? Thank you.
And I just like to have a follow-up. Is Toby going to continue down a path for a planning board review at some point?
Absolutely. I told you I had a plan to potentially take this for determination, and certainly my department will be following up with Sav and Elise, and, making sure everything copacetic. And
Thank you, Toby.
for some reason, there is no, if we have an issue, we will certainly come to the Board of Selectmen like.
Thanks. All right, next up on the agenda is the Bethel Area Arts Group with designs for pathway painting. And I believe, Loretta, we're going to need to share, do screen sharing on this. If you can turn that on for.
I can't, excuse me, I don't have those on this computer.
Peter, I think I hit screen share, don't I?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, give it a whirl, see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Oh, it says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Right. So usually who's the host, Loretta?
Because I had to screen share the What TV.
Huh. I don't see anyone's. Yeah, I think you can just let anyone screen share. Just next to the button that says sharing.
I just found screen
There's a
share.
little thing that says allow others to screen share. The little green finger on the bottom of where it says share screen. There it is. Oh, I see. You're watching channel 11.
Is that what that is?
For some reason.
The heck is that?
That's the What TV. I know they're broadcasting the meeting.
Oh,
Oh,
All right. Well, we can do this anyway. It's not that hard. If you hold up, is it on computer or is it on? It's on your screen.
Mine has to hang on. I don't know what it's doing.
I think you can allow multiple people to share.
Yeah, mine takes me right to the What TV.
Yeah, go back to stop the screen sharing. And then you're at the streaming URL.
No, it just booted me out. Hang on. How do I go?
So right there, that page right there with it's showing the screen. It's still showing live on the Facebook.
Okay.
So it is working. So carry on, I guess.
so I
So
can,
down next to the right of the screen share button on your screen, Loretta, I think you can click and allow other participants to screen share, or maybe now Sarah can screen share if the other screen share
just
stops.
tried. No, it still says host disabled.
Yeah, so you just need to go down to the screen share button at the bottom of the page, Loretta. And
Okay.
just to the right of it, you can allow other people to screen share. I think.
I've got a place where it says share.
Yeah.
It's got screen, whiteboard, or iPad. So I get it on screen.
Oh, no, you don't want to do that.
Okay.
That button that says share, there's another little button to the right of it.
Okay, hang on. Let me close this out.
no.
Multiple participants can share
That's the
simultaneously.
one, yep.
That's a tiny button.
I told you
I
that.
found it though.
Tiny button to the right of the green button. I've been doing a lot of this Zooming. I got all these little buttons down.
I guess so.
All right, so if you click that, now Sarah should be able to share her screen.
Uh,
Oh yeah, that's happening.
Look at that.
can you see it?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, Cody Ann, did you want to talk first, or do you want me to just start? Sorry. Oh God.
You can talk first.
Okay. Well, I'm Sarah Southam, and I'm part of Bethel Area Arts and Music, and I'm in the youth arts group. And I saw Mary Scanlon and Cody Ann and Cassidy out doing all these great chalk games on the Parkway, and I thought that would be a great a more permanent art project for the pathway, because we're always looking for community art projects. And so we've been talking, and some other families got together on Friday through Zoom, and we went through a bunch of different designs, and we have come up with a few to show you. We were thinking that some of these are more games you would do in one place. So we were thinking those could go near the playground or the basketball court. That way parents could, be sitting in the playground with one child and look out while their child does an activity on the pathway. And then there are some other activities that are more active and are have families moving through the activity. And so we were thinking those could be on the longer stretches of the parkway where there's not as much to catch kids' attention. So that would probably be after the skate park or after the covered bridge all the way to the other set of bridges. And then after you cross those bridges, as you're going towards Dunkin' Donuts, there's another long stretch that doesn't, have that much for kids to look at.
The old Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, right, the old Dunkin' Donuts. Sorry, I have a cat on my lap who's tackling me. So I'll start with some of the more static ones. So we have something like this, which would be like hopscotch with a flower.
I like that.
And we have this kind of thing where you could draw like a town and have a roadway and kids could bring their cars or things
Well, that's
to play
cute.
on that. We have this thing called Mirror Me, where you just, one person stands in the lower position and then other kids can copy them. So there's that. And there's an alphabet snake like this that we thought could be fun. So those would be the ones that would probably be closer to the playground and the basketball court. And then we have some more mobile ones where people would be moving. So there's this activity. So you would, you can, well, I don't know, hopefully you can see there's like a starting line, but this is like all twisted on itself, but we were envisioning sort of stringing that out so that they're just going from activity to activity. And Cassidy, if you want to jump, or Cody Ann, if you want to jump in and say anything, please do. And then we also wanted to have a universally accessible course. And so Cody Ann and Cassidy talked to, Cody Ann talked to her 4th grade teacher, Kathy Doyen, and together they came up with this plan. So it would be accessible to wheelchairs. But again, it's sort of a, you move along through the activities. And on that one, we would put this symbol so that wheelchair know that it's accessible to them. And there's a bear paws where kids can hop like bears. I don't know, bears don't hop really, but we have a number line one like this. And I thought it'd be cool to have negative and positive numbers, and that way kids get familiar with all kinds of numbers. And I think that's all of them that we have to propose.
That's quite a lot of work.
But I guess we don't know that we would follow these exactly. It's just, these are ideas we like. And I mean, it's gonna depend, who comes out to help us. They may have this wonderful idea to add something that is fitting or, has a local flair to it, or I don't know, so we're just wondering if we can have some artistic license as we're working on this project, or do you need to see, very specifically what we plan to do?
I believe at the last meeting, we gave this provisional approval pending design. And so this seems like a design to me, but so we need to go back to the select board and say and find out whether this is enough of a design for us to just give it our full approval.
Can I say something just to the artistic license freedom that we need? Because I helped Ashley Oliver or Ashley Broderick paint the playground at Crescent Park last year. And we had a plan, but then you have like dips and flows in the pavement. And then what you think you can paint freehand or with the stencil, you have to kind of tweak it. So having a little bit of wiggle room helps with the contour and painting and stencils and stuff. But we really want to keep somewhat true to what we showed you tonight, but we just wanted a little flexibility. And then I think Cody wanted to speak to it, but she might be a little too shy about the accessibility that Kathy Doyen, she does use wheelchair occasionally. So we pulled her into the group one because she's fantastic and her girls are good friends of ours and they're good doers and will be great helpers. But also for Kathy's experience of needing special assistance with doing these activities. So having her as a resource is wonderful. And that symbol that she showed is something I think she would like to see more in the community. It's showing that something is accessible and having that symbol of being athletic stance in the wheelchair, showing that we are open and welcoming to people with different abilities would be something we should consider for this project as well as others.
Thank you. So Select Board, can we have a motion to give this full approval or?
I'll make that motion. I think they've gone above and beyond what we asked of them for this design. I think they did a wonderful job on it, and I want to congratulate them for all their hard work. So I'll make the motion to approve this as a design for the pathway.
Give a second.
Second.
Any further discussion, Select Board?
Yeah, the only thing that I would add, I mean, it's great graphics and such, is to use the ones to keep it flowing, because it is a pathway and there's stuff moving back and forth. So the ones that are more inclined to keep the flow moving, I think I'd be more inclined to. If there's one that is specific, to keep it holding people in one area, I would really hope that the location for that one would be so it wouldn't hold up the flow of the pathway or cause collision.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Peter?
Right. And Sarah, you should stop sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In favor?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. And thank you, girls, for coming to the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Super helpful. Okay, next on the agenda is conversion to LED streetlights. And I read this and it seemed like there was a proposal from, is this proposal from CMP?
Yeah.
To just replace all the streetlights in town?
Yes.
And it sounded like there was an immediate gain to doing so, but that's where I started to lose the thread.
We talked about this back in last fall, I believe, sometime, and we were trying to get a little more information, see what other towns had done. And we couldn't have done it then anyway, because we weren't on, CMP's got a heck of a list. But at this point, if we went with CMP, we would have a 15-year lease with them. And if anything went wrong with any of the lights, we'd call them, they'd come take care of them. It's kind of a 50-50 split with the other towns. A lot of towns have stayed with the 15-year, but then a lot have contracted out with other Affinity, and I can't think of the name of the other place. A Real Team, I think, is one of the other ones.
Oh, I remember this.
So like I talked to Vern in Woodstock, he said it saved him almost 30%. But the paperwork that I sent you shows the difference in the cost of per pole, I believe. LED cost versus.
So they replace the lights, we pay them a lease, which is less than we're paying now for, are we currently leasing the existing street lights from CMP?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I
so it's
don't
just,
think we own them at all.
yeah, it's just cheaper is
Yeah.
basically the take home message.
Yeah,
They install LEDs and then we pay less,
correct.
but not as much less as if we bought our own LEDs and somehow had them installed and licensed.
Right, and you'd have to, but you'd have to get the lift truck and the manpower to do it, and
Oh, I have one of those.
yeah.
That's not what I want to do.
You want to go around every streetlight?
See this list, Peter?
Sorry. So, has everyone else had a chance to look at this proposal?
Well, the agreement wasn't attached. I didn't have the agreement attached.
I thought I attached the agreement.
I have the email and I have all the listing of the inventory.
Yeah, I have that. I think that's what's, you just have what's attached to the agenda, right?
Yeah.
That's what I have as well.
Yeah, it's the terms and condition. I do have that.
It would be great to see that. And is there a cost, actual cost to the conversion and the purchase of the bulbs and that type of stuff?
No, there's no upfront cost. I believe that's what it says on her sheet.
Yeah, we should see that. We should see that agreement sheet, the signature sheet, so that we really can see what we're voting
Sure.
on. So perhaps we should move this to the next meeting.
And the only other question I have, could have it for the next meeting too, is do these include the Bethel station lights?
No,
So will it?
Town just went through this year and replaced all of those bulbs with LEDs. Just this spring.
Scott's saying no to you.
But I believe those bulbs, Scott just replaced those bulbs.
Yes, but CMP will not take over those lights because they're not. That's what Michelle was asking, if this proposal included that.
Right.
And CMP.
So I think we own them, but we don't.
CMP will not take over those lights.
But we don't have to lease them.
Nope,
Because,
we own those lights.
so we own those lights, okay.
And now they have LEDs in them and we just pay the electricity. And we don't even pay all the electricity, right? I think the theater pays some of it. And if I'm not mistaken, some of those lights run off the theater.
Just the ones right at the theater building themselves run the theater. All the ones on the street are all ours.
All the ones along the street are ours, yep.
Yeah, so we're paying just electricity for those right now and repairs when they get hit by snowplows and buses.
All
Right.
And the last time the inventory was checked, was that last year, 2019,
Scott just went over it, yep.
2020? Okay. Do we have any additions?
Last fall. Have any what?
Additions to it?
Nope.
No, the last edition we had was an LED conversion at the Parkway Walker's Mill Road intersection 2 years ago. 3 years ago. It was a while ago.
Hang on, Scott's.
Three lights listed on here that do not exist. She was going to clarify where those were.
Okay, there's 3 lights on the list. Tasha was going to clarify where they were that Scott did not have. That
Yeah,
was
so if we can get that clarified and then get the agreement for next meeting, that would be great.
Thank you.
So do we need a motion?
No, I think we're just gonna put it off and wait until we have all the information.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is rules for the common and bandstand.
Still waiting on the attorney.
Okay,
I
that's easy.
contacted her Friday, but that's as far as I got.
Okay. And then next is the wastewater treatment plant budget. Looks like we've got.
Do you want to do the possible reopening of the parks first?
Sure, let's do that.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
What are some of the considerations for the town common and the bandstand? I may have missed.
I believe we currently have a policy about alcohol, and we want to have a clear stance on marijuana and marijuana products, and that's what we're talking about, right, Loretta?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so why don't we talk about the opening of parks in our current pandemic situation. So basketball court, Angevine Park, skate park, and there's one more.
Playground.
Playground.
Oh, the playground. What are our thoughts?
What's the recent recommendations from guidelines?
From the governor?
Yeah.
Or CDC?
I mean, we're up to 50 people now with 6-foot social distancing. You couldn't come up with that. We can't keep the signs up or anything else at the skate park. People have been using it anyway. The police have been there. I mean, I've been there. Depends where you want to go. Some places have everything open, some have none. I did like the suggestion for the sign from Sarah Lane when she said, to put at the skate park, no loitering, stay in motion. I thought that was kind of a good suggestion. Not that the sign would probably last very long, but.
That's kind of similar to what they're doing like the beaches in southern Maine, there's no lying around,
right,
but walk type of thing. So
right.
Places are splitting the difference that way.
Yep.
All right, so do we have a motion on parks? We can take them all at once, or we can take them individually, whatever someone wants to propose.
I think we should take them individually.
Okay. So we need to start having motions on parks. Anyone want to make a motion?
Oh,
on
I'm
any of the
sorry.
individual parks?
I want to make a motion that we open the skate park only because of what we have been going through, and also to have the sign that was suggested put in place.
Are there any other parks that you would also like to open?
Oh, I thought we were going to do them individually.
Well, if there are some that you want to group together, that would be great too.
Okay, I think Angevine Park should be open. The basketball court it's an iffy situation with that one. But I'd like to do the Angevine Park and skate park right now.
Okay, so we have a motion to open Angevine Park and the skate park for the season. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Further discussion.
Yeah, what is the, I agree with definitely opening up the skate park with signage, whether it's what was suggested to us or otherwise. There may be other COVID-19 type signage that we can put out there as well, but the Angevine Park, what's our thought about, gathering of people? Are we going to have the attendant check it every once in a while? Are we just going to, or not? Or are we going to keep the restrooms closed? It's just what are we thinking?
I had talked to Nancy. Nancy's on here anyway. And she suggested PPE equipment, masks, and gloves to clean with at the park. So I'm assuming she's still willing, Nancy.
Yeah, I am here. I feel that having the restrooms available increases the risk of COVID-19 spreading, for one, because I feel like, people are going to be in and out of there And probably, you know, especially kids aren't going to be washing their hands. And I also think having the dock in place is a problem because kids are always, that's the fun place. So if you have, you know, 5 or 6 families there, you know, kids are not going to be social distancing for sure. So I think those things need to be considered. And I am not compensated enough to be there 24/7. So monitoring it is not an option from my point of view. Like, you're not going to be willing to pay somebody enough to be there the whole time the park's open to monitor those things. So you need to be taking that into consideration. It's going to be really up to parents monitoring their kids.
Nancy, where are the docks right now?
Well, there's one on the entrance side that they put in every year.
Uh-huh.
You know,
That's
it's
all right.
it's the side that you come in on, and it's the one that's, you know, everybody usually just, you know, plants themselves there, usually.
Right. So, but I'm asking sort of, where is it sitting right now? It's not in the water.
Oh,
It's in.
no, they put it in.
Oh, they did put it in.
Mhm. Yeah.
How much of a project is it to take it back out?
They just wheel it out.
The problem is where do you put it once it's out in the middle of the lawn?
Scott says, where do you put it when you take it out, other than the middle of the lawn?
Yeah, but you know, because kids might climb on it and stuff too. But
Exactly.
you know, it really is about how responsible parents are going to be, because ultimately they're the ones that are going to have to make sure the kids are safe if they bring them there. You know, there is a lot of space around the park, but most people will, you know, kids, they like that spot where they can run and jump. So, you know, and again, if they're in and out of the bathrooms and nobody's supervising that, you know, there's a high potential for things to happen there.
Yeah. Are the state parks all still have all their bathrooms closed?
They have limited access right now, to my knowledge. So they're being very careful about that too, it appears.
Yeah, because I've seen
Variable.
a bunch of them closed.
Yeah.
Be variable.
So I think it's, you know, I think Andrew Park honestly is questionable as far as opening right now. I actually took the incentive to call around other towns today because I was curious, and they seem very kickback about it. Like, you know, kids are gonna have to social distance, but then she made the comment, well, like, they probably won't. So I don't think that's being very responsible.
Right. All right. So I probably made a bad choice, Lori, encouraging you to group things together. I think we should probably take them one at a time because every single one of these is different. So we might want to just go back to the skate park.
Okay.
That one, and then move on to the others because there's moving parts on all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I just work around kids, you know, year round at school, at the park, and they're not. I mean, we already see that at the skate park. Kids, I went by there Friday, and there was a group of girls just sitting in one spot, right together, talking. So even there, it's a problem.
Maybe they were all sisters.
No, I know the kids. They're friends.
Ugh.
So, you know, that's the sad part of all this is that, you know, kids aren't going to take that incentive, right? They to them, they're just, there's no fear there. So it really is our responsibility as adults in the community to make those kids safe, keep them safe. Not just the parents, but all of us collectively. I think, you know, it's a tough call, but I just, you know, I know I'm going to go there and kids are just going to be all around each other. They want to play together. And, you know, it'd be unfortunate if kids got sick because of this.
All right. Should we just go back to the skate park and start there and then work our way through? If I remember, and I might not have it right, Lori started out wanting to make a motion on the skate park. So maybe we should just go back to that.
Okay. Should I do you want me to repeat?
Yeah,
the
let's just
motion?
start again. I'm sorry.
Okay, so right from the beginning again. I make a motion that we open the skateboard park.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Further discussion on the skate park.
I want to say that I have been by that skate park many, many times. And I actually did call Oxford County's non-emergency number a number of times on it. And the amount of people that are using that park, even though there was signage up and banners and everything, was amazing. I think it's great that the kids were using it, but it wasn't just the kids that were using it. It was older teens that were using it and older in their 20s. I think that even if we try to keep it closed, it's not gonna fly. I think they're gonna use it anyways. So I think with signage up about this, saying that keep it flowing, I think that might alleviate some of the controversy that's been going on about this also.
We can put up the signs, but I know they won't stay because
Yeah,
we know how people are.
maybe if we put them up so that they can't get them.
Good
Well,
luck.
I saw some places,
Peter, where's your boom truck?
if I can say something on that, you can make the park unusable in other ways.
But they've been taking the signs down and using it anyways.
No, like I've
Okay.
seen places that put sand in the skate park. They put sand in it so it wasn't usable.
Yeah, and I think that's a little extreme
Yeah, but just saying.
Yeah.
and costly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Any further discussion on the skate park? All those in favor of opening the skate park at this time? All right. Good. Let's move on. So, do we have a motion to open any of the other parks? Playground, basketball court, or Angevine Park? All right.
I think we should keep the playground closed.
Okay.
I make that motion.
Do we actually need to vote on that at this point, or is that just sort of our default? That's a good question. I don't know the answer.
I would say it's a default. If you're not going to open the rest of them, then you don't open the rest of them.
Does it say somewhere, for some reason it's on our chamber website that there was a motion made for them until June 1st. And so if
Okay.
it's written down somewhere, you probably should extend it and say
Yeah.
something like until.
Okay,
first-
that's what I was going for.
Yeah.
So it seems like we need to vote
Long time ago.
everything one way or the other.
Well, I make a motion that we extend the, not open the the Angevine Park, the playground, or the basketball courts until further notice.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah, what are the thoughts on that? I mean, what's to come to that?
Sorry, I'm not necessarily getting the whole question, Michelle. I mean, I sort of understand it, but not.
What in particular about those places is the thought to keep it closed?
Yeah, I mean, we heard it sort of with the, in my mind, we sort of heard it with the Angevine Park, you know, opening that means that kids congregate and, well, I mean, I'm not sure I totally agree with keeping it closed for the time being, but that seemed to be we don't have to. But it's just a matter of, you know, the playground, for example, the kids, there's all over surfaces all the time, slides, swings.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard that's a guarantee. And the basketball court is almost the same way, except for maybe people who are playing pickleball. In other words, basketball, everyone's handling the same basketball. I don't know if that's an issue, but that seems like something that would be more problematic than, say, having everyone go out for a bike ride.
So it's more the touching and the socially distancing piece, not so much as a gathering place, because I mean, we do have guidelines now that we can have, you know, up to 50.
Right. And I would say at Angevine Park, for example, probably the only time there have ever been 50 people there at the same time are when it's the kids triathlon, but that's not happening. So.
Right, and I think Angevine Park is in a different realm than the other ones, for sure. What was the motion again?
Motion was to keep the other 3 parks closed until further notice.
Any thoughts from the others as to when it would be, when you think that would be to open?
Could I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Could you maybe keep it on your agendas each month to revisit it? I mean, your order or your statement could be closed until further notice, but I mean, there's just such constant new guidance for everything, and it would be a missed opportunity to not like keep revisiting this and to see.
Well, I'm sure we would revisit it every meeting.
Yeah. I just feel like it's worth stating. And I wonder, Loretta, has there been any guidance from like Maine Municipal Association or anything like that regarding these kind of smaller parks, or are we just sort of relying on the gathering side?
Not a whole lot yet. They said they're working on getting us information.
Yeah, I've been so plugged into what's going on for businesses, but there's just so many other aspects of society that it's hard to keep up, but I'll certainly keep my ears open too. For us at the, again, the chamber, thinking about bathrooms are a huge thing, and then it's a liability thing too. So signage that if you do decide to open something, signage that says, you know, here's what you should be doing, do it at your own risk kind of stuff could go a long way. And I totally hear Nancy's concerns about keeping the bathrooms clean, because that's going to be our issue here at our office as well, because that's been a public bathroom. So
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and if you open up Angevine Park without bathrooms, then you have a whole nother set of problems.
Right.
Exactly.
But I
Yeah,
certainly,
kind of in
I
the middle.
certainly appreciate Nancy's not wanting the bathrooms open. I get that too.
Yeah.
So that's a tricky facility to run without bathrooms, and it's tricky to run it in a pandemic with bathrooms.
have you had the porta potties at Davis Park? Aren't they still there?
Yes.
Any special protocols there, or is it same as always?
Haven't even thought about them.
I don't think about everything all the time.
Yeah.
Many other things that we think about in this office, and porta potties at the Davis Park was not one of them.
Yeah, I thought about them, but I didn't know if they were locked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they get cleaned.
When you can start.
I mean,
Maybe that
they get
blue
cleaned
stuff
every
that's in
week, but I
there
don't know
kills
about-
coronavirus.
Right.
So how often do they get replaced?
Twice a week. Scott said they get cleaned twice a week. That he cleaned twice a week.
All right, so we have a motion to close the other 3, to keep the other 3 parks closed until further notice. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right, we'll revisit that at our next meeting. All right, next wastewater treatment plant.
Can I back you up for a second?
Sure.
The airport bathroom is still open, and we did close their meeting room, which I forgot to add this on our little agenda edition. I'm assuming we want to keep that meeting room closed still, or because you can't get too many people in there with a 6-foot social distancing. It does get used a lot, the meeting room, on a normal basis.
On a normal, I'm not sure anyone's having meetings. Is anyone?
Oh, we did have a call about it last week, so.
Really?
So
Who wanted to meet?
I don't know who it was. They asked if they could use the meeting room.
How curious. Yeah, I don't know. I have no particular agenda either way. I think people are best recommended in this currently to keep running their meetings on Zoom or any other platform they wish.
Right.
Well, I think if you set a minimum number for people in that room, that theoretically they could social distance, I don't know what it is, 5 people, 7, I don't know how big the room is.
Or 5.
Take out the chairs, so it doesn't encourage filling the room. We might be able to do that. The other thing too is, after a meeting, and that meeting there is free, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, after a meeting, you would need to wash things down theoretically, I guess.
Yeah.
But that-
At
but that
which
might-
point, I would say we should just leave it closed.
Yeah, but this might be our reality for a really long time.
Yeah.
That's
No, I
another
mean, I
thing.
think we can
Yeah.
revisit it for sure, but
Yeah.
you know, as soon as we start to have to incur costs to keep things, you know, sterilized between groups and groups of 4 or 5 and having to move out chairs, then it seems at that point that we've reached.
Well, we could make it mandatory that they clean up after themselves, they sterilize after they.
Yeah, but we'd have to go make sure it happens.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
I mean, there is all that, but as you know, as I was saying it, I'm thinking, you know, this could be, you know, a reality. Cleaning after everything could be a reality for many months. So just something to think of. Keep it back.
I'm trying not to think about it.
No,
So
but-
that's why I'm hoping that we're keeping track of these costs. Anything that we have to do for COVID-19, extra cleaning, extra supplies, all this stuff. I hope we're keeping track of it.
We are. We haven't had to do much of the extra stuff here, but rescue has crazy amount. But
Okay.
Yep.
So let's go to the wastewater treatment plant budget because it's a big budget. And so it seems to me like we need to eventually, in the near future, approve a budget so that it can then go to the town, correct?
no, it goes to you guys. You guys approve it.
We
You
approve it.
drive
directly.
this one in the airport.
Oh, sweet.
But
Unlimited power.
yeah.
I have this one somewhere. Not that one.
Got so many papers this week, I don't know which file is which.
I know. I
Okay.
apologize for having piecemeal. I weren't even, almost didn't even bring this to you tonight because today has been nutty busy around here.
Nutty busy, huh?
Yeah. It was a Monday for some reason.
All right. So, oh yeah, I did have a question. I looked at this for a little while today. So in the 21, I'm right at the very top at the sewer capital plan for 21, replace the Mill Hill pump station at $400,000. But then that doesn't carry through.
No, I just threw that together this afternoon.
Okay.
I can't manipulate the old capital plan thing in Excel. So I sent it to Amy and I said, start me a new one. So I just put everything under FY21. And Rick and the guys down there had given me a list of projects that needed to be done that we would have a list on. And I kind of put them in. This is the order that Rick and I went over and we put them in to get us started.
Yeah.
So just for now, I shoved everything under 21 because this was it.
Oh, no, you're on the second page. I was on the first page. But that's okay. It doesn't really matter. I understand what you're saying. Now that I see the second page, I understand what you're saying. I
Oh,
was
okay.
on the first page where things were split out more by year.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
That was the one that I couldn't manipulate anymore. And when Amy was working on it in Excel, it's because it's been going on since, I think since the treatment plan began and you couldn't manipulate it anymore.
Right. And so if I'm not mistaken, one of the thoughts behind putting up the whole list like this, other than you just put up the whole list like this, was because we needed to look at potential funding sources and see where asking for more money, does it get us a better deal to ask for more money all
Correct.
at once than to break it up into smaller projects?
Yes, because that's what Scott from RD says. Like if we're going to do the Mill Hill pump station here and the Mayville Route 2 sewer main, before they actually make that wonderful sidewalk on Route 2 that we keep talking about, Scott Emery told us that the more you ask for, the more free money you get.
Right. He's kind of muted.
You talk louder.
Oh, if you have a sizable job, you can get more, say, free money, you know,
the overall cost of the job is bigger. If it's too
Can't
small.
hear him.
Yeah.
You can't hear me?
No, come close.
Let me try turning on my audio.
I don't know if it'll work or not, but
I'll stand up here.
yeah.
Just get echo.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear him now?
Think so.
Okay. Scott's suggestion is that if we're gonna go for grant money, to have a large enough jobs lined up so that we can get more free money towards the whole project. In other words, one pump station, they might only give us, if this pump station is gonna come out at $400,000 to $500,000, they don't consider that a large enough money to get a lot of free money. You know, after we figure what our current debt service is and so on, all that paperwork. But if we include and make it a bigger project between a pump station and maybe the sewer on Mayville and another upgrade of a grit system or the roof at the sewer plant on the Headworks building, then we lump them together, they come up with some pricing that it makes us eligible for more free money. In other words, this is a bigger burden for the town, so you get more free money. So it's just something to consider.
And that's money that's coming ostensibly from what, rural development?
That's one of the funding sources. There's also the state revolving fund, which comes with a lot more strings to get money, as far as paying the Davis-Bacon wages and so on and so forth. But it's certainly an avenue stream that we should, look into also for funding.
So it looks like the whole sort of wish list here is about $1.2 million.
Yep.
Yep.
And those, some of those prices, they're not, I hope they're inflated enough to cover what it would cost by the time we got to them, but they're not. It's my estimate of costs, some of it. I've had some estimates done on some of the projects that we've talked about, but which are more accurate.
How immediate is the clarifier rehabilitation?
I would put that in they haven't been, it's the weirs that they overflow onto are steel in pretty tough shape. The drives, I think, are okay. So it's just the labor of what they do to work on them. They might have to even take those fiberglass domes off, but I'm not sure extent. So I had prices of to do everything is $180,000 a clarifier, but I think we can cut a good portion of that off if the drives, which I believe are in good shape. And they do need to get done though. The weirs are in tough shape. And so that's a pretty high priority.
How bad is the Headworks roof?
Headworks roof has leaked in the past. There's a rubber roof up there that I think was, if it was a 20-year roof, it didn't last 20 years. We were getting some leaks which have temporarily been patched. There's a membrane or something, an insulation underneath the rubber, which is soaking wet. What I've said to the past several town managers, I'm not a roofer. I don't know if we're doing any structural damage. It is on concrete, slabs on that roof. So it's just time to re-estimate it and see what it's going to cost. I put a higher price because it's been close to 4 years since we've had some estimates for the roof. And that's why I think it's probably going to run $25,000 to $30,000 for that roof. And they replace the insulation at the same time, and I think some of the estimates then they'd add a little more insulation, which would just help with the energy costs.
So, I mean, is it worth putting this all into one large grant application and seeing what comes out?
We can certainly pursue that.
I mean, it just seems like otherwise we're
anything we do, if we do that, we'll have to go through engineering.
Right. But it seems like things like the Mill Hill Pump Station and the Mayville Road need to go through engineering anyway.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't sound like they're able to be pushed out. I mean, I know the Mill Hill Pump Station can't be pushed out much further.
No, and I really think part of the Route 2 is a scary old sewer. if you saw pictures of the pipe, it's kind of frightening. And that if you're gonna have a sidewalk out there, you certainly don't want to put sidewalks over old laterals.
Right. Yeah, I mean, so in my mind, it seems like we need to do the engineering work and figure out what the costs really are and write the grants and see how it goes. Because at everywhere along that, well, you have to pay for the engineering. I get that.
Yep.
Up front.
Yep.
But
It'd be
then
some-
we have to, but it needs to be done anyway, so that we have the information, so we know where we're going.
Yeah.
Other thoughts?
So the proposed number at this time for capital improvement for FY '21 is 1,079,500.
That's so 1,079,000.
Yep.
Okay.
500.
Really? It looked like more than that. Oh, I see why. Okay. Yep. Okay. I believe you.
And we only had for capital improvements last year, 35,000, right?
Correct.
Yep. Any thoughts for 22, 23, or 24? Any thoughts for?
This was their whole list of what they,
Yeah, I'm guessing a lot
Yeah,
of those things on
spread out.
21 would actually get done in 22, 23.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure
Or
they can
24.
spread out that way with some of the projects.
Depending
So
on how.
we'd appropriate the money, but have the work done in the following fiscal years.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, if it all got funded in one big lump, then it would probably get done in a fairly big lump.
Yeah, it could carry over, I think with RD funding, we carried that over many years for the projects we did. Past Burner Street and the plant upgrade was over what, long time, 7 or 8 years. You know, by the time everything got done, unfortunately, the longer it stretches out, the more the prices go up.
The Chapman Street, you said.
No, Chapman Street was separate.
Oh, sorry.
We did Vernon Street, and then we did the pump station upgrade on the RD grant.
Right.
That was last. So the town, whenever it gets settled out, the town would pay a certain amount of money out of their pocket first, and then the grant money would kick in.
Right.
It'd be great to take this back and digest it and bring it up at the next meeting.
Yeah, there's a lot
Oh,
here.
yeah, no, we,
especially if you got it last minute.
Thank you.
we
Yeah,
understand
I mean,
that.
I went through the budget itself, and that seemed moderately sensible, but not even, that also has some, I certainly also have some questions on that.
Yeah.
Although now I can't find it.
I found my question. I can, my question on it just was the budgeted amount for the sewer receipts. Why?
Okay. That was mine too,
Oh, wait.
on the revenue end. Our July bill in 2019, the auditors had us move it to the prior year, so that is not showing on our receipts here. And where you guys approved to change the base rate from 159 to 190, that didn't go in effect until April's billing cycle.
Right, yeah, we approved a budget last year based on the 190 base for the whole year. And I think that's how we got the 708, right? So I know the actual coming in would only really truly be reflective of 6 months of the increased pricing. But why wouldn't the sewer receipts or the budget for it be 708 again?
Because
or close to it.
Our October bill was at the 159. And that sewer receipts were 135,424.12. And then it shows another 159. And then in January, which covers October, November, December, that was $129,057.75. And then the April bill that at the new rate, that was $170,762. So that shows the year to date of the 435, 402.87.
Right, I understand that. I get that because of when the rates were changed. But why wouldn't we budget the revenue amount that we budgeted last year based on the 190? Because we would have 190 for a full year. The 190 base rate change.
Because we haven't, well, it's not showing now because we haven't had it a full year. And
No,
the
I know,
next, I'm guessing that the next rate, the next bill that goes out July. Yeah, July. I'm guessing that it's going to be like 170,762 like April's was. That still makes us only the 606, 165 for this.
Right, but I'm not, I guess what I'm saying, I guess maybe I'm not reading this correctly. The last column of 2021 initial.
Yep.
Is that the budget number at this time?
That's what I put in, guessing what the July bill is going to be. So we've already raised, we haven't raised, we've got 435,402 now, year to date as of 5/28. The next billing cycle that will be added onto this, I'm going to guess, is 170,762. Of course, it could be less and it could be more. It all depends on the usage, but.
So the 606 you put in there is based on actual for this past year, but the actual for this past year is, half the year was at one rate and the other half of the year was at another rate. So this coming year, it will be at the increased rate, and we budgeted that increased rate last year to be 708, even though we know we didn't collect all of it. So why wouldn't the number be close to the 708, what we based it on, the number of places times the rate would still be the same.
Right. I think I understand what Michelle's saying. Why isn't the 2021?
And I'm having a brain cramp. No, I don't get it.
The 2021 budget the same as the 2020 budget or similar? Why is it lower by $100,000?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm on, sorry, and I'm specifically on the last page. No, there's one little tiny skinny table, but the page before that, which is
Page 3.
page 3 of this document.
Gotcha.
The 2020 budget is 708,693. The 2021 budget, and that initial means that because we're just starting the process of coming up with the budget.
Right. So I'm going by actual and not.
Yeah, I would say that number should be closer to 708.
Okay.
Unless we know differently.
Gotcha.
Michelle, was that what you were talking about?
Correct.
Okay, sorry. Thanks.
No.
Wasn't working in my head. I apologize.
It's all right.
We did go up in the legal services line. If you start at the first page.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Just because when we had all the issues with the billing, particular condos, apartments, whatever, all that comes out of sewer.
Okay.
So,
So we had 4,000 actual in 2019. We budgeted only 500.
correct.
So you're sort of splitting the difference between
Yeah,
what
'Cause I'm
happened
sure-
and what could happen.
yeah, because I'm assuming some of it's going to happen again.
Right. That seems, but it seems so we had 4,000 actual in 19 and another 4,000 in 2020 so far this year.
Yes.
So it almost seems like that budget item should be $4,000 or in that or more based on, I mean, the past 2 years.
Agree.
Does that make sense, Loretta?
It does, but I'm trying to decide why we've spent, hang on a minute. I got too many budget things in front of me.
So is this particular situation when there was the claim that the condos that like the Cameron House had condos, and then they got bad advice to say change them to apartments, and then their
Yes.
rates would go down, and so we had to hire an attorney because we were
Right.
an attorney. Okay, all right. So that bad advice did cost us. Okay.
It cost us money, right?
It
Every
cost
time we
us-
talk to that attorney, she costs us money.
Yeah, but this was the particular case where someone,
Yeah.
our interim town manager, for some reason, the code wasn't referred to, but
Right.
water over the bridge.
Pardon?
Water over the bridge now.
Yep. So, I
So,
mean,
but
we
it seems like over the past 2 years, we've spent $4,000 or more on wastewater treatment plant legal. So maybe that 2021 number should also be in the $4,000 range.
Yep.
Unless we foresee that it doesn't need to be, but
right. So you want to up that?
it seems like we should.
I was trying to be optimistic.
Yeah, I understand. I appreciate that.
Up to 4,000, is that what you want to go?
It seems like based on the past 2 years, 4,000, 4,500, something like
Yep.
that.
We lowered the lien filings by 200. Hopefully we won't have to, we haven't heard that they're going to increase the fees at all, so, at the registry.
Other than that, most everything on this page seems to follow the first page.
So in the operating budget, there's a line there to have capital improvements, 35,000 budgeted again. Should we put that over on the capital side?
Part of that we use, you're on the second page, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
down at the bottom.
We have used part of the 35,000 that we had this year for the engineering. You guys approved for Rick to get, Mill Hill underway. Thanks, Rick. So we have used part of last year's 35,000, which I think there's 15,000 left.
Okay, that's great, but we're budgeting 35,000 again.
Right, because we're going to be spending more on engineering, Rick's saying.
Okay, well, can we put that 35 in with the capital plan?
I don't know why it was separate anyway, because it was separate before. I don't see why we couldn't.
I'm sorry, I'm lost. Where are we looking?
We're on
Second
the
page,
second
very
page, at the very
very
bottom. there's a line item for capital
Capital
improvement.
program, okay.
Yeah, that probably should be in the capital budget, not in the annual budget.
And I'm not sure why it's been separate.
And yeah, and it's such a wonky line because it's,
Yeah.
you know, we budgeted $35,000, spent $335,000, and now
Well,
we're
that's,
35,000. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to budget. it.
No, and it was, well, I can explain
And the
part
year
of
before
it.
that, it was zero.
Right, we put it in as the 35,000 for capital improvement. And then when we paid off the grant money, we have to expense it somewhere. So Amy expensed it to that account. That's why it shows up to 335,623.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I figured was going on with that line item is it's a
Right.
bookkeeping
Yes, it
line item,
is.
not a budgeting line item.
And it looks confusing as all get out. I had to question it because I was hung up. But we can move that to the capital list.
You might need to check with Amy on that so that we don't. I mean, I agree in
Yeah.
principle, but I also don't want to screw up the whole bookkeeping system for.
Right, and have the auditor have us change it again.
Right, but we should get an answer to that. Like, why is that the
Yeah.
right way to
Yeah,
budget and bookkeep that? Because I understand what Michelle's asking, and that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe it needs to be called something else. But last year, we only had 35K for capital improvement.
right.
And we didn't, it came straight out of the ratepayers. It wasn't financed, it wasn't grants. or
Right,
anything
and
like that,
I
so,
think that might be the reason why it was separate.
okay, well, we
because
can
it's
find
from
out.
the ratepayers versus
Yeah,
a
so
dream.
we can find out, but in any event, even if it's cataloged there, it could be in our sewer plan so we can see everything all together.
Right.
So it's this thing is actually plus 35. And the only thing we really don't have, because we don't know, is if we're gonna have any debt service if we go forward with this capital plan.
Right, we can't, yeah. We won't know that until all the engineering
We
and all
know
that.
we'll have debt service. We just don't know how
Yeah.
much it's going to
Right.
be. Seems like a good time to take out a loan, though.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
it
you.
is, actually,
Yeah,
the rates are really low right now.
Too bad we can't float one of those negative interest rate bonds.
Yeah.
Got to be a way we can figure that out. Can make money coming and going. All right. So any other questions now on the wastewater treatment plant budget? And I think we should probably come back to it when we meet again, because it seems like there's a lot here to process. But are there any more questions that you want answered? Did anyone wants answered now?
No, I would only ask if you had any more thought for FY 22, 23, or 24, if there's, there's anything else that we should be looking at that's coming down the pike. I mean, I know we have a lot on our plate right now, but.
Well, I think some of those, they just put everything in 21, but that's not necessarily the way it's going to.
right. I just put them in there to get them on the sheet for today.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there things that we're not, that aren't on the sheet that we need to know about?
No, I think I put everything that Rick and I and the guys went over.
Okay.
But we'll double check anyway before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll review the list, make sure there's nothing on there.
Yeah.
Is there a, Rick, where would something like the PFAS testing show up in this? Has that increased this budget anywhere?
No, we only have to test
sludge
that
hauling?
once. We only have to test once a year right now for PFAS. So
And
after
is that all, and is this budget showing an increase for sludge hauling?
Actually, we went down 5,000 on that. For the sludge
Went
budget.
down 5,000?
Yeah.
Have we found a better way?
Nope.
So why did it go down?
Because last year we upped it not knowing what it was going to cost
Knowing
us.
all the costs were gonna be, and unless something drastically changes, I think we'll be able to do it for 5,000 less.
It's under contract services, right?
On the slide.
Yes.
So are we good for now with the wastewater treatment plant budget?
Can I ask a question in regards to wastewater treatment general?
Sure.
Do we have an update on the, and I forget her name, there was a lady working on a report to get us hopefully some information of how our rates share up?
She has, it's Kathy Rogers. I've talked to her every Wednesday. We have a little, it's not a Zoom meeting, but it's the Ring Central or something. Anyway, she's having trouble manipulating her program because she has to take it from cubic feet to gallons, from quarterly to monthly for each account that we have.
Oh my gosh.
So she told me last Wednesday she was almost there, and then I think it was Friday, she sent me an email. I'll talk to you Wednesday. I think I got it.
Oh, good.
So, but I'm not quite sure I understand the stuff that she's telling me, but we're going to find out on Wednesday.
Great.
Okay, great. Great. And then any update on the engineering work that was being done with that 35K?
They're still putting together the plan. I have to get down and do a drawdown test. That's the last bit of, they want to know how much it pumps down in so many minutes, and then we'll calculate the drawdown. So, but they are putting the plan together. The last I spoke with them, so, and have some rough estimates.
Thanks.
Hopefully by the next meeting, I'll have that information for you.
Pretty soon. Okay. And then lastly, should we re-engage trying to get a sewer committee together, or put it on the shelf for now, or?
How many people did you get to say they'd do it? Two?
There's a one and a maybe.
A one and a maybe. That's all she could get for commitment.
One and a maybe.
Another thing that possibly down the road when we're doing budgeting, we need to set aside funds for these projects so that we don't have to borrow the whole amount. You know, we had a 50-year-old pump station that if we had added something every year in the pump station and kept it in an account, we could have a good portion of that funding. You know, and we've never done that here. I know other departments, they put money in for fire trucks or equipment. And they've never done that at the sewer department. So I think it's something we have to look into. It just makes sense down the road, 20 years from now, if we have accounts with some money in it, then we don't have to say, well, we need to borrow $1 million. We might only need to borrow a couple $100,000 to offset the cost.
So you're talking like a reserve account or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to have some with the SSDC fee money, but that long ago dried up. And that was for when a pump went, I didn't have to take it out of the budget. We had money there to repair a pump. From SSDC fee money. They don't have
Right.
Going into the pool. I'm just starting to think about it. I think it's find a way to incorporate it into some of the future budgets.
Right. Okay. Should we move on to the report of the town clerk? Everybody ready?
Well, that's on my list. Yep.
Okay, report of the town clerk.
I am all set, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Report of the town manager.
I have way too much. Town meeting, we're still waiting for MMA to tell us where, how, when. That and voting, we have no clue yet. MMA says they're working with the governor to get us some answers. I did have a suggestion from somebody. I threw something out about the common, and they said, why can't we rent a tent and have it out on the common if push comes to shove? And then it was thrown out that possibly Gould Fieldhouse. Those are just food for thought.
Yeah, if you're going to ask about the field house, ask about it now because they're just about to go into complete administrative transition. So you could probably get anything passed right about now. If you wait another month, it's not going to go.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yep. Well, we gotta wait for the governor, I guess. Like, we hurry up and wait. Jesse's on because the chamber had requested money during the original budget process. $850 for, I can't remember what it was, art fair, and $5,000 for Molly Ockett Day. Seems our world has changed. Jesse sent me a message today, and you're looking like you still want to keep it at 5,000 for everything, Jesse?
Yeah, we, of course, this whole gathering of, or no gathering of 50 more people has thrown us for a loop there. But we would, so we're gathering as a board, committees and all that good stuff to try to think about what to do instead. So we think we could reserve or request money for fireworks and keep that at a TBD date. If we're thinking about the whole fiscal year of through, what would it be, June 2021. Hopefully that's something that we could do. And the other thing that we're planning on is, or trying to work on, assuming things stay stable as they are, is a series of smaller, more dispersed events throughout the summer, which doesn't have a name yet and will definitely need to take some shape. But we just wanted to acknowledge that we had made those requests, and now the town meeting isn't even going to be until when those would have already been done, basically. Wanted to keep them on the table, but just sort of update the descriptions there.
So this is money that we already budgeted last year.
No, this is in our budget for FY21.
Yeah, this is the budget that hasn't even passed yet.
Right.
But it was approved by, or recommended, or whatever the right terminology is, at the budget committee meeting.
Right.
Before we about this restriction of the gatherings of 50 or more.
Right. Okay.
So with the budget meeting next week, we can just update, it's the same amount, but different use, sort of different use.
Basically, so you do have a budget committee next week? I don't think I was aware of that. I'd be happy.
Because I haven't set anything out yet.
Oh, okay.
Just supersede.
Well, I'm glad you're meeting. I think that's good.
Monday night.
So
You'll get an invite.
Okay, great. Then I'll keep, is the select board going to be a part of that as well?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess I can hang in there with you on that.
Okay. There's a site walk on Chapman Street tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Scott, Rick, Al, Cross, Lucian, can't remember who else. To go over, see where we're at. And then summer recreation, we cannot use the sad 44 fields. So Sarah's kind of been running around trying to figure out what we're going to do if we can have ball games. We have to wait for Woodstock. They have a meeting tomorrow night to see if we can use their field as one of them. I believe we can use the Greenwood field. There's a field on Lone Pine Road in Newry, big enough for Little League, not big enough for Babe Ruth. And it may be okay for girls softball, not 100% sure. So we're checking that out also. Still waiting on the attorney for the Fleming Road and the common use. I had Melinda Gagnon. She was Melinda Gilbert from West Bethel. She called and she wanted to know if she could use the common for yoga classes on Saturday mornings. She has like 10 people, she said, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. She wanted to know if that was possible. If would we need to charge her? Would she have to have the insurance that we have other people get when they reserve the common? I told her I'd throw it out there. See what you guys had to say.
I'm guessing yes on insurance.
They'd have to have liability insurance.
I'm assuming she does, but I do not know.
I don't know. I mean, if she has a yoga practice where she hosts classes regularly, she
Yeah.
probably has an insurance policy of some sort, but we just have to figure out whether that covered the town to the level we want to be covered at.
Right, okay.
Other than that, it would be pretty funny to have the yoga class out there.
They used to do it on Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
I used to see that.
Well, that's the only way that the gyms can function right now.
Yeah.
Gyms can have outdoor classes up to
Right.
10 people outside.
Right.
And the only other thing I would caution her is, I don't know if she plans to go whatever from, 9 to 10 every single Saturday morning from now until November, but there may be some Saturday mornings that might not work.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah, and I don't know how many weddings we got. I don't even know if we have any now because everybody's canceling weddings. Then we have one more, wastewater treatment. One of the guys' wives had to go to New York twice, pick up, brought him here, brought him back home. Family, something or other. Does he have to do the quarantine thing?
I would think so.
But then we're gonna have another issue. Kristen's mother's coming home in June. July, when is she coming?
1st of July.
1st of July.
And she lives with me.
So would Kristen have to quarantine right in the beginning of elections, town meeting?
Why would Kristen have to, her mother has to quarantine, not Kristen.
She lives with her.
She lives with me.
Oh, well, that's a different story. Sorry.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
When is that? July?
Yeah.
But right now, she's supposed to come home the first week of July.
Things may change by then too.
I hope so.
Yeah, really.
it might get worse.
Oh, don't say that.
I mean, New Hampshire is doing it a little bit differently. New Hampshire is having people quarantine at their home for 2 weeks before they come here, instead of coming here and then quarantine.
And quarantine, right.
Yeah, so it's,
Oh, wow.
But,
Yeah.
Would that
So-
work? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard that the whole thing is in conversation, the 14-day quarantine, but
Right.
There may be some testing things coming out in the next few days too, so maybe.
Well, he wanted to have a test and they won't let him have a test because he has no symptoms.
Fake them.
But I mean, when the traveling to New York, it's his wife that's traveling, right?
Right.
And
He didn't come.
and she's just going for a certain thing and coming back.
Right.
It's not like,
Went back and went again and came back. So Jeff is obviously
right.
in contact with the person that came from New York and his wife.
Yeah. So I mean, the bubble's kind of still small.
Yeah, I know.
But we
Yeah.
made Kobe do quarantine when he went and got his dad.
Correct.
This is a difficult situation all around.
Yes.
It's
Can we
definitely
can
a
we
challenge.
MMA? Sorry, Michelle.
That's all right.
I didn't hear what you said. I don't,
Can we question MMA on this?
they're gonna say use your own discretion.
I think
Okay.
I've been following, I think, CDC guidelines.
Right. Yes. Rick says we've been following CDC guidelines, correct?
Right.
Is what we have been.
I mean, I think that's sort of the standard we'd like to follow is to.
Right.
Yeah.
CDC saying.
Kristen, how is she getting home?
She flies.
She's flying.
Yep, from Florida.
Okay. So that changes it. There's going to have to be a quarantine period if she's flying.
I know, but then that means I won't be doing elections and I'm the only person that knows how to do them. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but nobody else is going to be able to do this election.
Right, right.
Especially not sure if it's gonna be half or not.
Well, maybe we'll have to put Kristen up somewhere for the time.
what is the date?
I mean, she hasn't made plane reservations yet. I mean, that's just her plan right now.
Right, right.
Doctor's appointment July 1st, and she planned to come home after her doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
When's the date of the election currently? The 14th?
July 14th.
14th.
Well, if she comes on the 1st, then that's exactly the end of your quarantine.
Well, she won't come on the 1st. She's gonna come, she has a doctor's appointment on the 1st, so it's probably like the 2nd, 3rd.
So life is confusing as all, you know what? Do we make Jeff quarantine and pay him like we've done everybody else? Do we make him quarantine from the first day his wife went or from the second time his wife went?
Ooh.
And then he's got vacation coming. They've only got 3 guys down there. And it's a tough road.
I guess my question on the sewage treatment plant is how much of the work down there can't be done at social distance?
We tried, do what we can to keep our social distancing. We have masks if they want to wear them. I'm not making people wear them, but we have them. So Jeff does wear a mask frequently. Honestly, I don't think the other employee there was happy with him coming back to work after having more exposure, which I think was the same argument when I came back from Florida. And so that's why that Toby was quarantined, because he had more exposure.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's my question is, can you do that job at an appropriate social distance with appropriate equipment, or is it just not possible? I don't know the answer.
If there's no, I guess it would be, we have to all, I haven't had to go into a confined space under these circumstances. So I don't know how close we can separate when we're trying to do that type of stuff. It takes 2 or 3 people to get people hooked up and you're close together working,
Right.
So then it would take a lot of extra PPE to do that type of stuff. It's a small office with the lab, it's right there, yeah, I just think that, we're taking precautions anyhow, but it's just not.
Yeah. But it's usually the case that not all 3 of you are on all at the same time. Or are you sometimes?
We were trying some things through this because Jeff wanted less exposure. He was working, taking 2 days off during the week and working weekend. And then we minimized our staff, so there was only 2 of us there most of the time, very rare 3 of us at the same time. But since the town went back to work, we suspended that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Neither did we. That's why we came to you. Yeah.
I mean, we're in unprecedented territory here. I don't know what to say.
I think the easiest thing right now is to let him do his quarantine.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear Rick.
Yeah, you faded out, Rick.
Oh, I think you should do the quarantine, I mean, that's been your standard practice so far. And possibly I can have him come in and do some weekend work if he wants to continue that, which would eliminate us being there at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like that's the most logical thing to do, is to maintain a quarantine. But if there's solo work that he can do without the danger of infecting other people, then I don't see any reason not to do that.
So he might have to take some days off as quarantine to get to his 14 days. But if he worked on weekends when we're not there, then he could, that would just shorten the period a little bit.
Right.
No, Rick, Sorry, Peter.
Go ahead, Lori.
Is there a way that he can like disinfect after himself that
Yep, he
on the
can.
weekend?
I think he's been pretty thorough about that, you know, Jeff's a pretty thorough person, so.
Yeah.
We would probably could clean up his areas with, we have the wipes to wipe down surfaces.
Okay.
Windows and stuff.
Well, I think that I personally think that would work. I don't know what anybody else on the board thinks.
I think it's, you know, as long as it's possible for him not to infect you guys, that's really,
Yeah.
that's what we're looking for.
Right.
You know, I've already had scheduled for me to be on call this weekend. Yeah, I'll have to talk to him and I'll see what I can work out to limit his exposure there and let him work a couple days and then some days he'll have to stay at home.
Right. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Loretta?
No, that's it.
All right, selectmen's concerns, comments, ideas, and goals. Anything new, selectmen?
Nope.
I just had a question, with the COVID-19 response and for restaurants and opening, they're encouraging outdoor dining. I just didn't know if there was a plan in place or some sort of notification, or maybe it's just an observation of keeping track of those that are site plan approved. If they have outdoor dining, that maybe that sunsets, you know, in December or something, but just, I didn't know if there was something in place that was kind of tracking that. I mean, we've had, you know, the Bethel Inn has expanded theirs and they've gone through the state because of liquor license, and we've had the bowling alley go through. That was actually a site plan amendment. But just the ones that are in response to COVID-19, I just didn't know if there was any plan of that, just a recognition that, you know, okay, it just doesn't go on forever.
We have a list of those people, an ongoing list of who has tables outside. And like the Chinese restaurant called the other day, and he would have to do an extension of premise. And Toby is going to, Toby and I talked about it last week at the end of the week. I was going to call the people, or he was going to go see them. We haven't hit that point yet today, or at all today. To let them know that if they're temporary outdoor stuff, they would have to get the extension of premise to serve alcohol outside, unless their building permit has it, liquor license has it, like Rooster Roadhouse. They had outside seating anyway, so they're okay. Modern Barn, I don't believe theirs had it. I can't think who else was on the list, but we do have a list of people that
Good, great.
to get in contact with.
Yeah.
Right.
I noticed that there was an appeals board meeting in June. Is that a general meeting or is there a issue?
It was a Fuzzy Thurston issue. I believe he's appealing the planning board's decision for his 2 to 3 bedroom, I don't want to say bedroom.
Unit.
House, garage, apartments. Yeah.
Oh, was it Fuzzy or John?
Fuzzy.
Fuzzy? Yeah. Yeah. Thought I had the right one, but okay.
Right.
You never know.
No.
Anything else, selectmen, select board?
And just the airport budget will be soon, right? And we'll have a copy of the warrant.
Should be the next, we haven't done the warrant yet because we're still trying to figure out how we're gonna do our,
I have everything done on it that I can do on it.
right.
I'm waiting for a location for town meeting and the questions that we're waiting for from the attorney.
Okay, anything else? Approval of disbursements.
I'll make a motion. We approve the disbursements, journals 734 and 735, and warrants for 2020, number 47 and 48.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right, and we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
So moved.
adjourn.
Question, is the next meeting July 1st, or we're going to have a meeting later in June?
July 6th, I thought it was.
Or July 6th? Thank you.
Yeah, July 6th, it says. There's a meeting next Monday too.
Right,
A budget meeting.
Budget
But-
meeting.
selectmen, yep.
Yes, no, it's a budget meeting. You're right. But
Yeah.
I just remind people of that meeting on Monday.
So
So
does
the-
that mean that we're only going to be able to really look at the warrant and vote on the warrant on July 6th?
I believe so. I mean, we could,
And I mean, okay.
uh,
And we have airport budget, we have waste treatment budget, we have. Maybe, we might have to look at opening things up again. I don't know. It just seems to me that we have a number of critical issues.
um, yeah, and currently, well, do we have town meeting currently scheduled for the 15th? That's the plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't know where or how,
I know, I understand that.
but
That's-
yes, it's,
On the books.
yeah. I'm hoping this week we'll hear from MMA. That's the way they talked to me last week
Uh-huh.
on guidance for all of the above.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we can schedule another meeting. It would have to be, I don't know, it would have to be either in 2 Mondays or the Monday after that.
I'm on vacation the week of the 15th.
Okay. So this is the
So the
first.
22nd.
So we're in June already.
I mean, yeah, we should probably tentatively put a meeting, is the 22nd, is that Lloyd?
Yeah, so we get the 22nd. That works, yeah.
Yeah, why don't we do the Monday, the 22nd? Put that in, and if we'll plan to meet then, and if we feel like we don't need to meet then we don't have to, but I'd say we're probably gonna need to get all the town meeting stuff done, and especially since things keep moving around.
So we're gonna have a meeting next Monday night for the budget. And then
Right.
we're gonna have another meeting on the 22nd.
Just select board.
Okay.
All right, just add that to the calendar. Okay, so we had a motion to adjourn. I believe we had a second too. All those in favor? All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
lovely
you.
evening.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Loretta, remember, don't hit the leave button.
I thought I had to hit the leave button.
Huh?
I have to hit the leave button.
I thought that the guy from Channel 10.
He'll do his end. He'll do his end. I have to hit my end.
Oh, okay. I thought he said
Yeah.
want to hit the leave button. I'm sorry.